Hey there, YouTube. I am at the moment in London at King's Cross waiting for my train to Paris, and I'm going to be headed back to Michigan to start the research part of my project that I just recently launched the other day on Gofundme. So far, in the last 48 hours, I've managed to raise $600, which is amazing. And since people don't read anymore, I thought I would read my campaign out loud to the world so that you guys get a general idea of what it is that I'm doing. So this is the text that I put on my GoFundMe page, and you can find the link underneath in the comments of this video after you listen to it. Okay, so Clairvoyage, my PTSD mystery. Past. Not long ago, I decided I wanted to make a film. I began documenting my life, randomly at first, with a general idea of a vision. I have since coined Clairvoyage. This is a story inspired by the past, rooted in the present, to be continued in the future. Soon after I began filming, a story began to develop, one that both surprised and terrified me at the same time. These memories shed a light not only into a mysterious family history, but also into my own history as well. These mysteries are all concealed neatly in small yellow Kodak boxes, full of Kodachrome slides, carefully preserved and organized by country, containing images of places I have never even heard of. An archive left behind by my great-aunt Marion chronicles a timeline of a woman who joined the military in World War II and dedicated her whole life to education and what appears to be travel and leisure. Aunt Marion never married. She dedicated her life to teaching in exotic places around the world, from Okinawa, Japan, to Saudi Arabia. And later, she lived in Paris and in Alexandria, Virginia. I'm not sure yet if she was an ordinary woman who lived an extraordinary life, or vice versa. Aunt Marion's archive also contains interesting documents that refer to her as Miss Marianne, what appears to be intel on rice paper, and specific images by a skilled documentarian point of view, as well as slides with specific captions suggesting my aunt is the lady in the red dress standing elegantly in the midst of a busy city center square. I can neither confirm nor deny that my Aunt Marianne was simply an ordinary woman on a guided tour in popular tourist destinations, or maybe she was a spy on an extraordinary mission for the United States government. This is a mystery that I am on a mission to solve. Regardless of my speculation, I find her photography absolutely fascinating. My goal is to make her archive of Kodachrome slides come to life by merging my timeline with my great-aunt Marion's, aka Miss Marianne. The archive of Kodachrome slides and her Canon QL camera are precious to me, having studied photography myself. I inherited her fancy dresses and other possessions while studying photography in Boston, just before the world converted to the digital revolution. My great-aunt Marion's archive uncovers the mysterious past of a woman who my family knows very little about. She was never married, nor did she ever have any children. She lived a solitary life, very similar to myself. I made similar choices not to marry, nor did I ever really have the desire to have children either. The difficult decision not to marry and the reasons why recently came back to haunt me. While studying photography in Boston, I survived an abusive relationship while planning a wedding. A past life where we happily never live ever after. He traumatized me mentally and physically, abused me every day for over 3 years. After the relationship ended, I chose to deny it ever happened. Fuck. Hold on. Okay. After the relationship ended, I chose to deny that it ever happened. I pretended that he was a ghost and he did not exist. I never dealt with the trauma of it, and the consequences of this, obviously, still come to find out, are extremely complex. I believed that I would not be alive today had I not ended our engagement. He tried to kill me by conditioning the need to kill myself. I survived, and this is my story. Present. Recently, while researching and studying the pictures my Aunt Marian's created in the past, I uncovered this past of my own that too needs to be dealt with. I was diagnosed with PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. My creative lifestyle plays a huge role in keeping me alive, considering all the darkness I endured. Not just from the abuse from him, but because of the abuse I put myself through because of him. It was the negative in my positive. This was not a simple decision to document my therapy. I had to get permission from my therapist, whose techniques are still being revealed to me daily. It still is intimidating to go back and watch the sessions, as reliving the experience is incredibly infuriating, stressful, and dreadfully terrifying. But it is my past, and I have to accept it bit by bit. Regardless, flashbacks will forever be unforgiving little bastards. Most people and therapists alike would shy away from documenting this, but I decided to force myself anyway to expose the world to this intimacy of my healing process. I figure that maybe it can help other people heal, or give someone more strength knowing they are not alone. My memories are not accurate. My patterns need calibrating, and parts of my past come back like fractal pieces of glass that slice through my reality like 1,000 Swiss Army knives. From what I have been told about my Aunt Marian and her behaviors, I can only imagine that she too might have survived a form of PTSD, just like me. It is very possible she lived a solitary life, because fear can be isolating and stressful situations can tear intimate relationships into pretty little pieces. Trauma has no rules. It exists in a realm where there are no boundaries. We're just now beginning to understand more about the complex ways PTSD causes and the effects on a massive social scale. When we talk about issues such as the opiate epidemic, the war-torn refugees, those who've witnessed violent acts like terrorist attacks, human trafficking victims, and the innocent children who are too vulnerable to understand that it's not okay to be touched that way by the ones who say they love you. Soldiers are not alone. They're not the only souls who get shell shock. And it's past time we raise awareness about the silent killer known as PTSD. Just before I embarked on my current journey, I was invited to participate in a research study funded by the Department of Defense. I hope to interview experts in the field who study this mental disorder and learn more about how to combat this issue via safe, creative ways. Future. Upon arrival back in Brooklyn, I will be documenting my journey through the PTSD study to raise awareness and help survivors, like myself, heal from this covert state of mind. I'm just now waking up to a reality that the memories I have are not accurate. I have no control, obviously, as you can see, over my emotional reactions. Flashbacks are physical. Intimacy is my biggest fear, and PTSD does not care. It is a monster. I intend to capture, develop, and expose as much as I can throughout this creative healing process as I become more aware of what causes my emotional reactions, so I can evolve into a better human. I believe in a common denominator that can create a positive influence on everyone, and I'm not afraid to expose the filthy truth about my experience in the emotional manipulator in order to raise emotional awareness in the public. PTSD is very real. The flashbacks can be tormenting. The more aware I become with each episode, I get more control over my emotions, and I can be a better human. Not only more kind to myself, but more importantly, I am more capable of sharing loving kindness to those who need it the most, including the one who hurt me the most. Last year, I filmed my EMDR sessions. My therapist helped me tremendously, and I want to share those dark corners of my psyche and with others like myself. who have spent years suffering and living in fear. You can overcome this. No matter what the trauma was, it can affect your mind in dangerous ways if it is not addressed. Your mental health is the most important part of your life to nurture. You deserve to feel safe. Every day you get better. Every day I relearn new behavioral patterns and create new ways to react to stressful situations. I am one of many. It's very difficult for people close to you to understand how tormenting and stressful the world can be with living in the midst of PTSD. Memories work in mysterious ways. Time is not linear, and the past can be haunting when you've survived repeated traumatic events. The future does not exist yet. The tagline for Clairvoyage is inspired by the past, rooted in the present, to be continued in the future. But I cannot be clear about the exact outcome of this endeavor. It is ambitious and the content is complex. The journey is bigger than me, and I'm ready to expose my story as a resource to benefit humanity. Our memories are unreliable, and the best way to capture moments in time is with photography. Film is about to become obsolete, so I'm going to use this exposure to document how to create an archive should anyone find one similar to my Aunt Marian's. The images I digitize will work like a multimedia, and the proceeds from the prints and coffee table books or whatever I try to make and hope to sell will benefit veterans and victims and mental health organizations through support groups or community outreach. I hope to gain insight and share it with the world through interviews with experts and a We the PTSD podcast for people to listen to and gain insight on how to help loved ones who battle with this disorder and or help those suffering come out of the trauma closet when they are ready. We can face this together. The support group I intend to create will be there to help the healing process in a creative and compassionate way. I'm nearing the completion of the first phase of this initiative. The funds I'm asking for here are to pay for an editor to help me put together all the footage I've captured so far, as well to pay for the fees to submit my work for grants, to set up ways to help like-minded people. I have no idea what it takes to cover all the costs, so I'm starting small. A simple share is sometimes more valuable than any funds. It is a kind gesture that you can do to help raise awareness about PTSD. If you would like to get involved, please feel free to send me a message. I would love to hear your ideas or simply listen to your story. The more funds we are able to raise will help us get the whole project off the ground. I will be making all the footage public and be using live format to document the places I go and the people I meet along the way. I'm so grateful that you finished listening to this so far. It is so difficult to get these ideas down, and I am obviously fighting back tears as I say this to you now. Thank you from the bottom of my heart and the peaks of my dreams for sharing and caring. You are all beautiful, and I look forward to creating a new history in the future with you. Love you to the moon. Stay tuned.